It's Merger Wednesday. The countdown continues. 7 years until the convergence of biology and machine. Neural interfaces are no longer theory. They're the scaffolding of a new consciousness. But what does that mean for identity? For free will, for the soul? This is where we build the frameworks for ethical, philosophical, and spiritual growth for the next phase of human evolution. We're not just upgrading hardware. We're rewriting what it means to be human. Each week, we explore the biotech breakthroughs, decode the cognitive shifts, and prepare the mind for the merge. This isn't about fear, it's about readiness. Because the future isn't waiting. It's already wiring in. This is about preparing human consciousness for the most significant leap in our species' history. If you think this is just about chips and brains, you're not ready. But we'll get you there, one Wednesday at a time. So sit back and relax as we take you on a journey on Merger Wednesday.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, Merger Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. To my smarts, to my final bosses, to my warriors, to my motivators, we are here. I am here. And tonight, I have a great show for you on Merger. Listen, as soon as I get my self together, all right, where did I go? Am I still there? Good. Ah, man. Yes. We are here. I am here. This is the Final Boss Podcast, Final Boss Nation, Final Boss community. Man, tonight, episode number 167, episode number 4 of Merger. This is episode number 4 on Merger. Before we get started, listen, make sure you go get Go Time. If you haven't purchased it yet, go purchase your copy of Go Time, the Fired Up Train. Go purchase Go Time, the Fired Up Train, right? All aboard the Fired Up Train. It's my first novel. It's a series. More to come. For Go Time, ladies and gentlemen. More to come. So, like I said, tonight is episode number 167 of Merger Wednesday. Well, of the Final Boss Podcast, episode number 4 of Merger. And make sure you go like, share, subscribe. And to each and every last single one of you, no matter where you are, where you're viewing from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please continue to send us all of your messages, your feedback, DM us, right? Hit us up on all the social media platforms, whether it be on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, right? Or for your listening pleasures, Spotify. Make sure you do that. Go check out our website at www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. The one and only www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. One word. Make sure you go check out all of our sites, all of our podcasts, all the information that we're putting out, and that's out there. And you can see each and every last single episode on our website. Now, for those of you who want to send us an email, you can send us an email at info, I-N-F-O, at thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. Ghost Pods. Shout out to Ghost Pods, wherever you are. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. So tonight, man, we're going in on tonight's subject, right? But before I do that, I need you guys to listen to me very carefully, right? Because right now, at this exact moment, there are fully functioning computers operating around you that are similar and smaller than a grain of sand, right? Than a grain of sand. This isn't technology that's coming in 5 years. It's not in some laboratory. It's operating right now. And for those of you who are new to Merger, welcome, 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 welcome. I am the final boss, and this is episode 167. 67. I know that is crazy. 67. Oh boy. And tonight, look, tonight we're pulling back the curtain on something that sounds like science fiction, but has 20 years of receipts that are attached to it, right? 20 years. And we're talking about smart dust, microscopic sensors, computers that you can't see, right? Networks that organize themselves. And here's the kicker. This isn't theory. This is deployed tech with peer-reviewed research, commercial products, and thousands of OSs, right? You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing games? This is real. The research started at UC Berkeley, right? About 20 years ago. They have over and has established 20 years of published research, right? Hitachi manufacturing chips smaller than that are existing right here since 2003. You have Crossbow technology, who has thousands of these things deployed everywhere. I'm gonna just say everywhere. They're everywhere right now. And for my final bosses and my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, I know you guys demand receipts because I got them. I got the receipts, right? So buckle up, because tonight I'm giving you documented facts that sound crazier than any conspiracy theory. And at the end, I'm going to bless you with full sources, full citations. I'm talking about, man, dissertation level evidence, right? And this is part of the Merge. This is part of the Merge series. And what you're about to learn will change how you see everything around you. So let's get into it. It's go time, baby. It's go time. Make sure you go pick up go time. Make sure you go pick up go time. All aboard the fired up train, right? Wherever books are sold. So good. Got that out the way. All right. All right. Let's dive in. But before we dive in, let me set the expectation. This episode is different, right? Everything I tell you tonight, every single thing that I tell you tonight comes with receipts. I'm talking about published papers, product specifications, documented deployments, right? Why? Because I'm building dissertation research, right? And you can't build on speculation. You can only build on facts, right? And here's what we're going to be covering. First, we're going to jump into the UC Berkeley's Smart Dust project, right? It's DARPA-funded research, over 30 peer-reviewed publications, lead scientists on the project, right? And they didn't theorize about microscopic computers. They built them, tested them, and published the results. Second, we're going to be discussing Hitachi motes chips, right? The commercial product measuring 0.05 millimeters by 0.05 millimeters. That's smaller than a human hair, right? And they've been manufacturing millions of these since 2003. You can buy them today, right? And third, we're going to talk about Crossbow's technology, MICA motes, right? Which are sensor networks deployed across the world. Military operations, environmental research, smart buildings, infrastructure monitoring. These aren't prototypes. These are operating systems with documented case studies. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds wild. It does. Believe me, I thought it did too when I was researching it. It does sound wild. That's why every claim comes with sources you can verify yourself. This is systematic excellence in action. This is research-backed content. This is the merge, right? And this is the merge becoming real before our eyes, right? Let me show you what they don't want you looking too closely at, right? And tonight, let's go into the brass tacks. Let's go into the brass tacks, right? And tonight's brass tacks comes from none other than moi, the author extraordinaire. And here's tonight's brass tacks. The future isn't coming. It's already here, operating at a scale you can't see. Smart dust proves that the most powerful technology is often the most invisible. And if you can't see it, you can't question it. That's why we're bringing receipts tonight, right? I am the Final Boss, and this is the Final Boss podcast, and welcome to our Merger Wednesday show. Oh man, my man Chris is on board. I see you, Chris. I see you, sir. I see you. You're vested. I see you. All right, let's break this down in plain language because I know what you guys are thinking. If you never heard the terminology before, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what the hell is smart dust? Well. What do we have here? Imagine taking a complete computer, sensors, processor, wireless communication, power supply, and shrinking it down to the size of a grain of sand. That's what smart dust is, right? Now, you might be thinking that's impossible, right? And I get it. I totally get it. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Impossible is just what they call it before someone does it, right? In 2001, listen, in 2001, 3 scientists at UC Berkeley published a paper in IEEE computer magazine called Smart Dust, communicating with a cubic millimeter computer. You want to hear something crazy? I read that article. I read it. I remember reading it. Listen, I read it, right? The authors of that article were Dr. Chris Pister, Joe Kahn, and Bernard Bozer. And they didn't just write a paper about it. They built working prototypes and measured their performance. Here's what they packed into a device smaller than a grain of rice. Sensors that detect temperature, light, vibration, magnetic fields, a microprocessor that analyzes data, a wireless transmitter that sends information, a power system that runs on harvested energy from light or vibration. Now think about it, right? It sounds real Star Trek like, right? For my Trekkies out there. Yeah. A complete computer. A complete computer. Wireless communication. Self-powered millimeter scale. And this was done in 2001. But here's where it gets really interesting. These things don't work alone. They form networks. Drop 1,000 of these in a building and they automatically find each other, organize themselves, and start communicating. No human intervention, right? No central control. They just work. One sensor tells you the temperature in one spot. 1,000 sensors tell you thermal patterns across an entire building. 1,000,000 sensors, they're mapping environmental conditions across a city in real time. And this was 23 years ago. Imagine what they can do now. And this is documented. This is measured. This is real. Right? Let's time travel for a moment. Right? Let's go back to 1997. UC Berkeley, DARPA, that's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, hands Professor Pister a research grant and says, can you build autonomous sensors the size of dust particles? Most people would have laughed. Pister said, watch me. For the next several years, his team worked on what seemed impossible. And in 2001, they published their results. Not just concepts, working hardware with measured performance data. And here's what they actually built, right? They built a communication system that could transmit in two ways, right? Optical communication using teeny mirrors that reflected laser light back to a receiver. The range then was about 150 meters. But power required, it needed power, right? The mirror just bounces the light. We're going to get into that. It had radio communication at 916 megahertz, node to node range of 1 to 2 meters. Power consumption less than 1 milliwatt, right? Power systems that harvested energy from, guess what? The environment. Solar cells the size of your pinky fingernail, generating 10 to 20 microwatts from regular indoor lighting. Vibration harvesters pulling in 3 to 4 microwatts from ambient movement. Then they added tiny lithium batteries as backup. These sensors were able to measure temperature, light levels, acceleration, and vibration. And they also can measure magnetic fields. And here's the killer feature, because I haven't mentioned the killer feature yet. These things networked together. Like I said, you deploy a dozen of them and they automatically organize, right? Routing data through multiple hops to reach a collection point. This isn't science fiction. This is documented in published papers available with IEEE Explore, right? Brett Warnicki, Dr. PhD, he did a dissertation in 2003, right? They went into excruciating detail about how they built these things. The research proves something fundamental. You can pack sensing, computing, communication into millimeter scale devices that operate automatically. And once they proved it was possible, the race was on to get it commercialized, right? Let's pivot for a second, right? Who's the employee of the month? It is I. From university research to corporate production, let me introduce you to Hitachi's Mu chip. Smart dust you can actually buy, right? 2003, Hitachi announces they've manufactured an RFID chip measuring zero point 0.4 millimeters by 0.4 millimeters. That's already microscopic, but they didn't stop there. Newer versions came in 0.05 millimeters by 0.05 millimeters, 50 micrometers on each side. To put that in perspective, a human hair is about 70 micrometers thick. This chip is smaller than a human hair is wide. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what does it actually do? Right? Because I wanted that too. Listen, it's an RFID tag, radio frequency identification. And here's how it works. Listen, don't you go nowhere. Stay right there. It's just getting started. We just getting started, man. I got the good stuff. Stay right there. Stay tuned. You wave an RF reader near it. The chip harvests just enough energy from the radio signal to power up. It reads its unique 128-bit ID number, and it's stored in memory. Then transmit back to the reader. Then it goes dormant again. No battery, no maintenance. It just sits there waiting for the next interrogation, right? Simple, right? But think about the implications. You can embed these things in paper currency, in counterfeiting. Counterfeiting. Sorry. Pharmaceutical packaging, right? Product labels, documents for authentication, admission tickets, right? And because they use standard semiconductor manufacturing, Hitachi can produce these things by the millions. The cost per unit, fractions of a penny at scale, right? Fractions of a penny at scale. And here's what blows my mind. This technology's been in production for over 20 years. Millions of units manufactured, deployed across multiple industries. And most people have no idea that it even exists. This isn't coming, people. This is here, operating, tracking, authenticating right now. Right now. Let me give you specific examples where Hitachi mood chips are actually being deployed, documented, verified, and these are verifiable deployments. Let's go to Expo 2005. Let's time travel again. Expo 2005, right? Aichi, Japan. 6-month world exposition. Millions of visitors. Every single admission ticket had an embedded mood chip. Why? Authentication and tracking, right? Can't forge a ticket when it has unique microscopic chip embedded in it. This is documented in the Hitachi press, dated back March 2005. Japanese entry points and access control, right? Let's talk about it. Post 2005. Multiple venues in Japan started embedding mood chips in tickets, concerts, sporting events, corporate facilities. The infrastructure was proven, the technology was cheap, adaptation was inevitable, right? Pharmaceutical and counterfeiting, right? This one's serious, right? Counterfeit drugs kill people. So pharmaceutical companies started embedding mood chips in high-value drug packaging. Each package gets a unique identifier. You scan it at the pharmacy, verify it came from legitimate manufacturer. This is documented. Pharmaceutical Tech Journal, Healthcare Packaging Magazine. Now, let's pivot for a second. Let's talk about the government, right? Let's talk about the government. Let's talk about pilot programs. Let's talk about pilot programs embedding mood chips in resident registration cards, passports, and other high security documents. Sounds like it's making forgery exponentially harder when you need to replicate a microscopic chip with a unique encrypted identifier in it, right? Yeah, it does. Now, here's what they don't advertise loudly. The same tech that authenticates products can track them. The same tech that verifies documents can monitor them. The same infrastructure that prevents counterfeiting can enable surveillance, right? I'm not saying that's happening. Oh, by the way, this is for entertainment purposes only, right? I haven't gave that disclaimer in a while, so I'm giving it tonight, right? Entertainment purposes only. I'm saying that the technical capabilities exist. And when the capability exists, eventually someone uses it. The infrastructure is built. The technology is deployed. The question is, what else is it being used for that we don't know about, right? That we don't know about. Now, let's scale up for a second, right? Let's get high techy. Let's scale up. Right? Let's scale up. So, from microscopic chips to deployable sensor networks, meet Crossbow MICA mote. Right? The MICA mote stands for Wireless Measurement System. These aren't dust-sized. They're about the size of 2 AA batteries stacked together. But here's why that matters. They're operational. Thousands deployed. Proven tech, right? Mica 2 came out in 2002. Mica Z released in 2004. Mica 2 dot, the compact version, came out in 2003. Tech specs you may need to know, right? There's a microcontroller of about 128 kilobytes of memory. It has a wireless radio emitting 916 megahertz or 2.4 gigahertz, right? The range is from 30 to 100 meters outdoors. It has modular sensors for temperature, humidity, light, sound, vibration, and seismic activity. It runs on 2 AA batteries for weeks or months. And it uses a tiny OS, right? A operating system specifically designed for sensor networks. Crossbow Tech, right, now owned by Mog Inc. after acquisition in 2011, sold these by the thousands. To who did they sell them to? Well, you know I'm going to tell you, right? You know I'm going to tell you. First, of course, they sold them to military organizations, right? For battlefield monitoring. Then environmental research, agriculture operations, infrastructure operators, industrial facilities. These aren't research projects. These are commercial products with documented purchase orders, technical specifications, and operational deployments. And here's the key. They network together. You deploy 100 of these across a military base, and they automatically organize into a mesh network. Each one talks to its neighbors. It has data hops from node to node until it reaches a collection point. No central controller, distributed intelligence, right? Now listen, if you remove 20% of the nodes, the network adapts, right? And it keeps functioning. You add more nodes, network automatically integrates them. This is the bridge between smart dust research and real world deployment. And it's been operating for over 20 years, right? Now, let me give this is my aunt. I'm gonna tell her she's live on the show. Sorry. Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast. You're on live with Merger Wednesdays. How can I help you, Auntie?
I'm live.
You're on the show right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I
call you when I'm done.
Well, it's your mom.
What's wrong?
She keeps calling me, but I can't hear her or nothing.
Okay.
Then I call Fred, and his goes straight to voicemail. And I've been calling her back and forth. We've been doing this for about the last 5 or 6 minutes. There's no response on the other end.
Okay, I got you. I thank you for that. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry about that. It's a brief emergency. I'll be right back. Don't you guys go nowhere. Coming right back. All right, false alarm people, we're back. We're back. Thank you for that. I apologize for that. Hey, man, when family calls, you make sure nothing should interrupt. You never know. You never know, man. You just never know. You have to answer the call when family calls. So back to it. What was I talking about? I was talking about MICA. And let's see. MICA. Okay, yes, MICA. And I was going to discuss something specific. Okay, yes, specific documents about MICA, right? More documents are out there than you realize, right? Let's go to 2002 at the Great Duck Island, right? Great Duck Island. Researchers deployed a 32-node wireless sensor network to monitor seabird nesting, and they wanted to understand their behaviors, right? This study was published in the ACM Transactions on Computer Systems and has been cited over 1,000 times and subsequent research, right? This was the proof of concept that wireless sensor networks could operate in harsh environments long term, right? Now, let's talk about Vulcan, Reventador, and Ecuador. In 2006, we're still time traveling, people. We're still time traveling. Stay with us, right? Stay with us. Scientists deployed a 16-node network on an active volcano to collect seismic and acoustic data, right? Published in Earth Science Informatics. Think about that. Sensors that operate autonomously on a volcano, wirelessly transmitting data, surviving ash and vibration. Let's time travel again, right? We're going to move a little forward in time to 2003 to the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Structural health monitoring network deployed to detect stress, vibration, and potential structure issues. Published in Proceedings of the International Conference on Information Processing and Sensor Networks. They put sensors on one of America's most iconic bridges, right, to monitor its structural integrity in real time, right? Now, same year, right? same year, same state. We're going into California. We're going to talk about California and the vineyards in California, right? Commercial deployment of precision viticulture. Hundreds of sensor nodes monitoring temperature, humidity, and soil moisture across vineyard properties. The data optimizes irrigation and harvesting decisions. This is documented in agriculture technology publications, right? Listen. You know, it's not too many things that annoy me or irritate me more than stupid racism, right? Stupid racism. And, you know, I'm not going to get into that, but I'm glad you're watching the show. Go tell your friends about the show. I'm glad you're here. You're welcome. Get some notes. Get your pen and paper. Take some notes, right? I have some good information for you. You can spread to your racial friends, man. You know, that's what you could do. Thank you for being here. Now, let's talk about we're still time traveling. Let's go to 2004. Redwood forest canopy, right? UC Berkeley again deployed sensors 70 plus meters up in redwood trees to monitor microclimate in the canopy above, right? It was published in IEEE Internet Computing. They literally put wireless sensor networks in treetops to study the ecosystem, right? Now, for military applications, is no amount that I can, man, the applications are enormous, right? Many of those deployments are classified, but there are some that are unclassified, right? And there are unclassified technical publications that document MICA motes, and they were used for perimeter security, vehicle tracking, structural monitoring. Every single one of these deployments proves the same thing. The tech works. Networks self-organize. Sensors operate autonomously. Data flows wirelessly. The system adapts to failures. This isn't theoretical. This is operational, right? All right. So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to break this down for you, right? And this is why mesh networks are a big deal, right? And I'm going to break it down to you in language that you can understand. Listen, traditional systems that are centralized, controlled, reports on all things, right? All things, because everything reports to a base station somewhere, right? If the base station fails, the entire network goes down. But mesh networks distribute intelligence. They have no single point of failure. And here's how it works. You scatter 1,000 sensor nodes across an area. Doesn't matter if they're placed carefully or just drop randomly. When they power up each node, the nodes look around for neighbors within the radio range. They establish communication links. They figure out rotating and routing paths to a collection point, right? Then they start to operate without human configuration. They just self-organize. Published routing protocols like AODV and leech handle do this automatically. Now, here's the powerful part, right? They can self-heal. If a node dies, a battery runs out, gets crushed, radio fails, the network detects the loss, recalculates routing paths, redistributes traffic, and it keeps operating. Research is published in IEEE Transactions on Mobile Computing shows these networks maintain functionality even with 20 to 30% node failure. That, my friends, is resilience, right? The multi-hop communication is the other kill feature. Nodes don't need long-range radios. They just need to reach their neighbors. Data hops from node to node like passing a message down a line until it reaches the collection point. One node has a 50-meter range. The network can span kilometers by hopping through hundreds of nodes. And because each node makes local decisions about routing that's based on signal strength, battery levels, and network conditions, the system adapts in real time. This is inspired by biological systems, ant colonies, bee swarms, where simple local interactions create complex collective behavior. Apply this sensor that's embedded everywhere, and you can get an environmental nervous system that organizes itself, heals itself, extends itself without human intervention, right? That's why smart dust networks are powerful and why they're so difficult to shut down once deployed, right? Now, let me connect the dots. Let me connect the dots, right? All this technology came together because understanding the foundation helps you see where it's going, right? You have MEMS tech, which is micro electrical mechanical systems. This is what allows you to build sensors at a microscopic scale, right? It has accelerometers or accelerometers. Yeah, it has accelerometers, pressure sensors, gyroscopes, all fabricated using the same processor that make computer chips. Your smartphone has a dozen MEMS sensors in it right now, right? It also harvests energy, right? And this is the breakthrough that enables the autonomous operation. You don't need batteries if you can pull energy from the environment. It can have solar cells, right? It could be piezoelectric materials. It could be thermoelectric, right? It has RF harvesting, which pulls power from radio waves. All this information is published research you can generate and research, right? The published research shows you can generate enough power from these sources to run sensors indefinitely. No battery changes, no maintenance, right? It even has wireless communication, right? Wireless communication. And with wireless communication, you need wireless communication standards. And they operate off of IEEE 802.15.4, which was ratified in 2003. It defines low power wireless for sensor networks, right? The second one is Zigbee, launched in 2004, commercial protocol stack for sensor communication, right? It also has Bluetooth Low Energy, published in 2010, which enables phone to sensor communication, right? And lastly, it has LoRaWAN, right? Published in 2015, which is low range, low power for distributed sensors. These standards mean different manufacturers' devices can communicate interoperably. That's critical for network deployment, right? This is what makes mass production possible through semiconductor manufacturing. The same factories making computer chips can make microscopic sensors. Sub-millimeter devices aren't exotic anymore. They're manufacturable at scale. The software protocols, the teeny OS, and other embedded operating systems are designed specifically for resource-constrained sensors that can handle power management, network coordination, sensor fusion, and security, right? And all of this information is documented. It's open source. It's published. It's proven. The pieces aren't coming together. They came together 15 years ago. And what we're seeing right now is deployment at scale, right? Now, let me bring back these points to what this show is about. The Merge on Merger Wednesdays. The Merge series is to show you why smart dust matters in the bigger picture, right? And it's not speculation. But it is for entertainment purposes only, right? Remember on episode 1 when we talked about injectable nanotech, right? All right. We talked about that. How Rainy Therapeutics had a capsule that was delivering drugs through microscopic intestinal injections. Nanoparticle vaccines that self-assemble inside cells. And then episode 2 and 3, we talked about smart blood. DARPA's biochronicity program, turning living cells into sensors. MIT's photoacoustic nanoparticles analyzing blood in real time. Closed loop medical systems that monitor and respond automatically. So I just said a mouthful, right? I know I just said a mouthful. What's the connection? Smart dust is the same technology and it's almost 30 years old, right? Smart dust is the same technology and it's almost 30 years old. Smart dust, again, is the same technology and it's almost 30 years old. It is scaled to the environment instead of the body. You see? Here and here. Body, environment. The sensors work the same way. The wireless protocols are compatible. The mesh networking principles apply whether nodes are floating in your bloodstream or scattered across a building. The data analysis uses similar AI algorithms. And here's the vision that's emerging from published research. Bodied embedded sensors monitor your internal state. Environmental smart dust monitors your external conditions. AI systems fuse both data streams to optimize everything. Your smart blood detects early inflammation. Environmental sensors detect airborne allergens and pollutants. The system alerts you before symptoms start and recommends you leave the area. You walk into a smart building, your body sensors automatically sync with the building's environmental network. The room adjusts temperature, lighting, and air quality based on your real-time biometrics. Is this operational today? No. But the integration isn't there yet. And that's yet, right? Yet. But every component exists. It's like putting a Lego model together. The pieces are scattered, but they can interlink with one another to create the model, right? Every component exists, and they exist separately, just like the Lego blocks. Body sensors, check continuous glucose monitors, cardiac implants, research on injectable sensors, right? Environmental sensors, check, documented and deployed. Wireless communication, check, standardized protocols. AI data fusion, check, published algorithms. What's missing is the only integration layer, and that, my friends, my motivators, my smarts, my warriors, my final bosses, that right there, that's being developed right now by companies working on IoT standards, medical device protocols, and smart city infrastructure. The technical capability exists. The deployment is happening. The convergence is inevitable. That's the merge, and smart dust is a critical piece of it, right? Now, I'm gonna be straight with you. Entertainment purposes only. I'm gonna be straight with you, right? All right. Let me be straight about what this means in the real world. Both good and concerning. You have to understand the pieces. The wheel wasn't invented. The car wasn't invented before the wheel. The wheel was invented first. Listen, the wheel was invented first, before the carriage, before the car, before the bicycle, before the motorcycle. The wheel existed alone. Then the pieces came together and made these items, right? Listen, the benefits are real. The benefits are real. Environmental monitoring that saves lives, early wildfire detection, earthquake sensors, structural monitoring that prevents bridge collapses. This technology has legitimate beneficial applications that are documented in thousands of research papers. Precision agriculture that reduces water waste and increases crop yields. Industrial monitoring that prevents equipment failures and workplace accidents. Medical applications that can revolutionize healthcare, right? And I'm not anti-tech, people. I'm pro understanding. I'm pro critical thinking. I'm pro, right? Pro understanding tech. That's why we're here, right? But let's talk about something else that's possible, right? Now that you see the pieces. When sensors are invisible and cheap enough to deploy by the billions, monitoring becomes ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. Right? You won't know you're being watched because the watchers are microscopic. One sensor gives limited data. 1,000 sensors track patterns across time. That reveals behavior, preferences, routines, relationships. Data fusion creates profiles far more detailed than any individual data stream can suggest. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Once these networks are deployed, they're nearly impossible to remove. Sensors embedded in building materials, indoor infrastructure, in products, in packaging. How do you opt out of something you can't see or access? The technology is neutral. The application determines whether it benefits or harms. Same MICA motes monitoring environmental research can monitor protest movements the same as Hitachi chips that authenticate products and track individuals. Same mesh networks optimizing Building efficiency can enable comprehensive surveillance. I'm not saying this is happening everywhere. I'm saying the technology capability exists, and we need to think hard about it, right? Because some of the questions that should arise while you're watching is, who deploys these systems? Who owns the data? What consent looks like when sensors are invisible? What regulations govern deployment? How we balance the benefit against privacy, right? Because once this technology is everywhere and it's heading, and it looks like it's heading that way fast, right? These are some of the questions that you need to be asking. And they're going to get a lot harder. They're going to get a lot harder to answer, right? But knowledge is power. Understanding what's possible is the first step to shaping what's acceptable, right? Let me give you the current state assessment, right? Let me give you the current state assessment. Entertainment purposes only. Where smart dust technology actually stands today based on verifiable facts, right? And here's what's operating right now. Right now. Hitachi moved chips and production and deployed across multiple industries. Thousands of MEMS sensors from dozens of manufacturers and commercial products. Wireless sensor networks in buildings, factories, farms, military installations. IoT devices numbering in the billions globally, industry analysts data. Smart city infrastructure deploying environmental sensors as standard equipment. And what's proven that's feasible? Sub-millimeter sensors with full sensing and communication capability. Energy harvesting, enabling indefinite autonomous operation. Mesh networking on scales from dozens to thousands of nodes. Integration with existing wireless infrastructure, Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi, and other dedicated networks. Manufacturing at scale using standard semiconductor processes, right? Then there's active research. There's active research, right, that is going on in reference to biodegradable sensors, on-chip learning, low power consumption, integration with 5G and emerging 6G networks. And there's also medical grade versions, right? The core technology is mature. The sensors work. The networks work. Manufacturing works, right? Deployment works. And what's evolving is the miniaturization of it, right? It's getting smaller and smaller. The power efficiency lasting longer and longer, right? The intelligence means it has more processing power or processing at the edge. And then integration, connecting different systems and other networks simultaneously working together, right? It's out there. It's out there, people. And listen, and closing. Now, before we go into closing, might as well talk about market, right? Might as well talk about market. The MEMS sensor market alone is an $11+ billion annually produced product. The IoT sensor deployments number in the billions. Smart building tech is standard in new construction, right? Precision agriculture is growing. It's a growing industry. Military and intelligence applications are expanding, right? And that's only based on budget. This isn't emerging tech. This is established technology with ongoing evolution. The question isn't, will this happen? The question is, how extensively is this already deployed? And that right there, my friends, my motivators, my warriors, my smarts, my final bosses, that's harder to answer because much of it is invisible. What I can tell you is this: the technical barriers have been broken. The manufacturing capability exists. The deployment is accelerating. And most people have no freaking idea how far it's already gone. Most people have no idea. Most people have never even heard of smart dust, right? And it's been around for 30 years. What else don't we know? That's the question, right? Now, final bosses, let me bring this on home for you, right? As we're closing out. We started tonight asking a question. What if computers smaller than sand grains are operating around us right now? The answer is they are. It's documented, verified, deployed. UC Berkeley proved it was possible in 2001. Hitachi commercialized it in 2003. Crossbow deployed thousands by the mid-2000s. The technology has been operational for over 20 years. This episode right here is part of my dissertation research, which means everything we covered comes with receipts, published papers, product specifications, documented deployments, patents, technical reports. And why does this matter? Because the merge isn't something that you can ignore. It's not something you can ignore. All right? It's not something you can ignore. Think about that. Right? Because understanding what exists, understanding what's real, understanding what's deployed, understanding what's proven is essential for making informed decisions about the world we're living in. I'm not here to tell you what might happen, right? I'm not here to tell you what might happen. I'm here to document what has already happened that most people don't even know about. Smart dust isn't a future tech. It's current technology that's been researched, manufactured, and deployed for 2 decades. While most people never heard of the term. And here's what we discussed tonight. We discussed 20 years of peer-reviewed research from one of the world's top universities. We talked about commercial products that are manufactured by major corporations. We talked about thousands of operational deployments with published case studies. We talked about standardized communication protocols enabling interoperability, manufacturing capability, and producing millions of units. None of that is speculation. All of it is verifiable. And what does that mean for you? It means that the world contains technology operating at a scale you can't see. It means sensor networks are already embedded in infrastructure, products, and environments. It means the capability exists for both beneficial applications and concerning ones. Knowledge is power. You can't make informed decisions about technology if you don't know it exists. That's why I built this episode with my dissertation in mind, with these sources, right? Because smarts, listen up. Smarts demand receipts because warriors need to know the battlefield, because motivators stay fired up through knowledge and not ignorance, and because final bosses build systematic excellence on facts, not theories. Not theories, people. And next week, we're almost done. Next week, Merger Wednesday, we're documenting brain-computer interfaces, right? Again, no speculation. Only proven tech with measured results and verified deployments, right? To my final boss family who's here with me, let's continue to build. We're on this journey together. We're building this community together. This is systematic excellence in action. This is research you can't cite. This is evidence you can verify. Now, let me give you some of those references because I promised I would, right? Too easy. First up, UC Berkeley Smart Dust Project, right? Pfister, Kahn, J.M. Bowser, 2001, Smart Dust, communicating with cubic millimeter computers. Also published an article in IEEE Computer, 34 pages 44 through 51, right? Warnicke, 2003, autonomous sensing and communication in a cubic millimeter, right? That was his PhD dissertation. Also, UC Berkeley, right? Kahn, Katz, and Pfister, emerging challenges, mobile networking for smart dust, right? Warnicke again, smart dust communicating with cubic millimeter computers, right? Hitachi Mu chips, the Mu chip, world's smallest RFID, right? Technical product specifications. Oh, here's a good one. U.S. patent 6,988,667. I'm gonna say that again. U.S. patent 6,988,667, published in 2006. Wireless IC tag and method of manufacturing, right? The RFID journal. Hitachi develops world's smallest RFID chip, right? And I mentioned Crossbow, and then anything else you guys are going to have to find out on your own. Crossbow MICA motes. Crossbow technology, MICA motes, 2 wireless measurement systems data sheet, 2003, right? System architecture from 2000. Listen, people. The information is out there. The information is out there. The tech has been deployed. The tech has been deployed, right? Just because you don't know it exists doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? Remember that. This is academic grade evidence. Academic grade evidence, right? And look, here's a systematic excellence framework right here. Go get Go Time. All aboard the fired up train. Go get Go Time. All aboard the fired up train. This is my systematic approach to building character and achieving excellence through the 6 pillars of success, right? And I got more books on the way. More books on the way. And if this information resonates with you, let it marinate in your spine. Let it marinate in your spine. And tonight, we documented smart dust technology. 20 years of research, commercial production, thousands of deployments, all verifiable through published sources, right? Next week, we're going to be talking about brain-computer interfaces, right? And to my final bosses in the building, who believe in systematic excellence, stay fired up. For my motivators pushing through, stay relentless. For my warriors in the trenches, stay ready. For my smarts demanding receipts, you got the receipts tonight. I am the final boss. This is the Final Boss podcast, right? We're building legacy content, people. We're building systematic excellence. We're building on facts, not fiction. And until next time, stay systematic, stay curious, stay fired up, and remember, it's go time. It's go time, baby. It's go time. This has been episode number 167. And remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. And to all of you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you for joining us. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. And that is our show for tonight. My critical thinkers, my curious minds, my documented facts. That's our show. Y'all have a great night. And go get on the fired up train. Go get on the fired up train. I'll see you again tomorrow for special guests. Special guest Thursdays tomorrow, right? And then we're going to do it all over again next week with starting on Sunday for Sitting Down Sundays with the Final Boss. Hey, Zuby Guard, I see you. Thank you for joining us. And everyone that's been out there that's joining us, go tell all your friends. And to my racist friends, tell your friends too. Come on aboard, right? Come on aboard this information train. I love you guys, man. Y'all have a great night. Talk to you soon.